welcome to another episode of Beyond Loss, Loving Life with Karen Chaston. I'm not quite in my studio, as you can see, but do you know what? I'm here live, and that's all that matters. So today, as always, we are going to deep dive into how you can move beyond any kind of loss and create your better everyday life. So welcome, everyone. As you come on, can you please let me know where you're from? Write in the comments. Let me know if there's anything in your loss journey that you would like to talk about today, because I'm here open to all sorts of questions. Would love to hear from you as always. And today I sort of do have a theme, but I also have something different. Hi, Rosina. Great to see you from Hawaii. Welcome, welcome, welcome. And to everyone else. Hi, Jody. Nice to see you here. So as always, I am a life coach who specializes in loss. And I know it seems really, really strange, but there are over 40 different loss events that can affect all of our lives. It's not just death of a loved one, and I know how horrific a death of a loved one truly is, but there are so many other things that can affect our lives. And loss is really change. And when we start to look at loss as change, as a right, this is who I am today and this is where I want to be, and what does this loss actually mean for me moving forward, and how can I create the life that I've been dreaming about? And that's what I love to talk about. And today we're going to deep dive into something a little bit different when it comes to loss. And it is all about you deep diving into yourself, and as horrific as the emotions can be at times, sometimes it's really good to realize that actually our emotions are our friends. And I know that sounds really unusual. Emotions are friends. How is that possible? So let's deep dive in. Hi, Jody, Melinda, Diane. Great to see you. So I'm going to share my screen, as I love to do, and I'm going to just talk through a couple of slides. And then, as always, it's open to a discussion. And thank you for being here. It's so great. So life is an infinite journey from love to loss and then back to love. And if you look at your life, and if you look at your life in those sort of two perspectives, you can actually start to see how much you actually do travel from love to loss. And let's face it, when we're in the love part of our life, or the love phase of our life, and it's not just a partner type love, it is a love of life, in all areas of your life. And it's important for us to understand that in the Chaston Center model, there is actually 9 different areas of life. And the more that you spend times in all areas of your life, not just 1 or 2, the greater and easier your life will truly become. When I was a CFO of a publicly listed company, I probably spent about 90% of my time in my professional space, and the other 8 sort of just fitted into that, like a 10%, which obviously wasn't ideal for me mentally, physically, emotionally, and definitely spiritually. And when you start to understand that you have all these different areas of your life, and if you're feeling like you're really in lack or unfulfillment, and sort of, have this drum beating inside you, when are you going to start to love your life? When are you going to start to love your life? It's probably because you are not really honoring yourself and living in all areas of your life. And sometimes we go into loss in order for us to stop, and in order for us to actually deep dive into our life and say, okay, what is this about? Why has it happened? How can I become that person who is really going to live and love their life each and every day? And that's what I assist people to do, is I assist them to be able to move beyond any kind of loss and create their better everyday life. So as I mentioned earlier, there are over 40 different loss events that can affect all of our lives. And when you have a look at the list of some of them, as I said, they are change. A lot of them are change. Death of a loved one is probably one of the most horrific ones. And the reason why it is so horrific for most of us is because we've never really been taught how to move beyond loss. We have guidelines and we have this and we have this, and every sort of culture has different guidelines on how to cope with death. And in the West, we don't seem to do it as well as what they do in the East. We sort of tend to just get stuck, and it's very much like just keep busy, just give it time, everything will be all right. But the problem with that sort of philosophy is that when we follow that practice, and believe me, I have followed that practice for a whole lot of my loss events, and it doesn't work. It really does keep you stuck in shoving it down and starting to use really unhealthy avoidance tactics in order to get through the day. And if you've been on here before, you probably have know my story of my husband and I just over 10 years ago finding our beautiful 27-year-old son Dan literally dead at our back door, which wasn't great. But I lived all the cliches. I went straight back to work. I ate more. I drank more. I worked even harder, which is quite ridiculous because not only did I not honor Dan, I didn't honor myself, and I didn't honor the process of the best way to do. And then 15 months later, when I was faced with my redundancy loss, that's when I started to go, okay, there must be a different way, a better way for us all to be able to move beyond loss. And that's when I started on my life coaching journey and started to really deep dive into loss, to be able to assist people to go, do you know what? You don't have to go down and down and down and never come back up after a loss of a loved one, or after a divorce, or after a job loss, or your health, or your wealth. These sort of loss events is really little milestones in your life to assist you to be able to live and love your life, to realize that you are the only person that you're going to be spending your entire life with. And the more that you come into a space where you can actually honor what you're feeling, what you're thinking, what it means for you now, the better you can actually move forward. And that's what it's all about. And that's what we're going to be talking about today. So thanks for being here. Hi, Diane and Kim and Melinda, and obviously and Kim as well. So Kim, you've said that you lost your mum, Mary. And now I don't do readings, and it's really important for all of us to understand that I help people to move beyond any kind of loss. Okay, so let me just come back here. Right, I help people to move beyond any kind of loss. I am sure, we're intuitive. Right? I'm intuitive. I tap into my inner guidance for me and obviously my clients, but I'm not here to do a reading. I don't do that, okay? I will not connect with your loved ones, and I totally understand that if you don't want to stay, fine. You know, I'm not going to be upset, believe me. But what I would like to say is, are you connected to your mum? Like, have you noticed your mum hanging around with you, Kim? Is she showing you signs, putting little ideas into your head, coming to you in nature. Nature is the best way for you to connect with any of your loved ones. And if you've seen any of my posts lately, I was in hotel quarantine on the Gold Coast for 2 weeks. I came out on last Sunday, and I had nature all around me. I was looking at the beautiful ocean. But not only that, I had birds come and visit me, and I was on the 21st floor. And I know that the birds was my son Dan and my dad. I had two of them appear, little lorikeets just appear and hang out with me for a little while. They allowed me to take their photos, allowed me to do all this sort of stuff. So nature is one of the best ways for you to be able to hang out with your past loved ones, and start to talk to them, ask some questions. I was recently in Sydney, which is why I was in hotel lockdown when I came back to the Gold Coast, and I was hanging out with my daughter, and everywhere we would go, we would have 3 birds appear. And it was really, really interesting because they, there was her dad, there was my dad and my dad. So we called them the 3Ds. And they hang out and we would see one, and then all of a sudden we'd go, "Where's your mates?" And then the other two would appear. So it was really, really interesting the way that they really do come to you in nature. And it could be a rainbow. It could be a feather. Whenever I see a little feather on the ground, I know that's my dad. Whereas my son is dragonflies and rainbows. So it really is about you connecting what part of nature is your loved one. And they will then come to you in so many ways, which is really amazing. So Melinda, very recently, your husband of 20 years asked for a separation. How do you feel about that, Melinda? 20 years is a long time to be with someone and then to realize, and, I'm not sure if you have children and all those sort of things. So what I'd like to say is, obviously I help people to move through divorce and to come out a lot better. And it's more about you coming out mentally, emotionally, physically and spiritually a lot better than if you just sort of went through the emotions. And look, there's going to be a lot of emotions, but I have this amazing process. You have 3 children, right? So, which is never easy. And I'm sure your children are, teenagers, maybe, even early 20s. I don't know. Because you've been together 20 years. I'm not going to assume that. So it's not easy. And especially the older the kids are, it's not easy. If you'd like to have a little talk, Melinda, I'd love to talk with you. I have this amazing program that will help you to find you, because I don't care how long you've been together. Sometimes 17, 14, and 11, yeah, so they're young. Sometimes we tend to lose ourselves this life. We, come into this world amazing, beautiful people. And the process of growing up and then the process of finding a partner and then being with that partner, we slowly lose who we are. Not always, but just, by people saying, well, you're not very good at that, or you can't do that, or don't do that. All these different little things that we lose along the way. But it is about you, Melinda, re-finding you. The parts of you that you may have lost over the years, but more importantly, the things that bring you joy, the things that bring you love, that really make your heart skip and sing and all those sort of things. They're the sort of things that is now the time for you to find you and find out what you want to do with the rest of your life. I'm not sure if you were on earlier when I said that you are the only person you are going to spend your entire life with. Now, that's a fact that I didn't even find out until I was into my early 50s. And I was really surprised. I was like, you're not a silly woman. You're actually quite smart. So why did it take you so long to figure that out? And I think it takes us a really long time to actually figure that out, because I guess in some perspectives, someone could say, well, that's quite a selfish attitude, but it's not. It's a reality that is really good for us to understand, because there is no one else that you are going to spend every single week 24/7 with. It's yourself. And when you learn to understand this and put yourself first, not in a selfish perspective, when I look after myself, then I am topped up, I am in overflow, and then I can give to everyone else. So it's important for you to understand that the more that you start to reconnect to you, the better and easier your life will become. And then, as I showed you in that little infinity loop, that's when you will start to really learn how to really live and love your life each and every day, so that when the losses come, and the losses will come again, they're not so drastic. And then you have a formula that will take you back into love again in the way moving forward. So Melinda, I would really love for you to reach out if you like. I can smell her face powder. Oh, isn't that beautiful, Kim? Isn't that nice when you can actually feel it? So here's my email address. So reach out. No, there's no obligation. Happy to have a quick chat with you. And then we can go from there or not go from there. But I can tell you right, at the end of the chat, you will have some ideas, some ways of looking at things. Yep, that's all spelt right. Email me, just let me know that you saw me on here and then that you would like to just have a chat and we can go from there. All I ask is if we do set up a time to chat, just please honour it and do come. And I normally chat via Zoom because I like to look at people when I'm chatting to them. So that's fantastic and all the best, no matter what happens, Melinda. Just know that life is a journey and we are on a journey from love to loss. And even though this may not have been your decision, just know that you will always end up in the most perfect, ideal place. And you'll probably find that you will probably even love your life even more. Maybe not initially, but down the track, you'll be looking back at these times and you'll be going, wow, I'm so grateful that that happened. Probably not there yet, but believe me, so many things are amazing. So I just want to make sure I connect with birds, big and yeah. Isn't it beautiful? I can understand you're devastated and blindsided, but maybe there may have been some signs. But let's have chat, and I'm going to leave that. Hi, Doina, I think. Is that how you say it? Daina. The ebbs and flows of life and loss. Yes, I'd love to connect with you. I'm feeling really quite lost. Reach out if you really would like to have a chat. As I said, more than happy to have, 15, 20-minute, half-hour chat at the most. We can go from there and then we can see what we can do. Now, as I said, I am not a medium clairvoyant, but in saying that, what I actually do is I do grab a card each time I come on here to read. And I love to grab them from this little deck here, the Channel Spiritual Guidance card by Marcia Quinton. Really, really amazing. And today I actually have two, believe it or not, because one jumped out at me. So I might read the one that jumped out at me first, which is this beautiful card. Isn't it amazing? They have such great, beautiful pictures on these. So this is called Serenity. Okay, number 45, Serenity. Now 45 adds to 9, and 9 is a end of a cycle, which is always great. And sometimes it's not that great. So this definitely relates to you, Melinda. But you know what? It could be an end of a cycle, but then it's the completion, and then we're moving on into the next phase of our life, which is where I love to assist people. Because I literally help them to remove all of the baggage from the past so that then they can create their better everyday life moving forward. And believe me, there may be a fair bit of baggage to release because, as I said, there's over 40 different loss events that affect all of our lives. And the fact that we haven't been taught how to do it, we just shove it down through avoidance tactics or whatever it is, and we then move on from there. But I'm going to read this card first, Serenity. Okay. Powerful silence fills the senses. There is light shining all around you. It shines from the center of your being, awakened by the true joy of love that flows from within. The Great Spirit blesses you today and quietens the inner world and outer world, creating a sense of peace, love, and light. You are a wonder unto the world with the calm exterior you present. Despite your own ability to center and find peace and serenity, you still tremble from the challenges of this world. Without hesitation, the journey continues, seeking to find the peace and quiet not just within, but in the world that revolves around you. When your spirit is silent, serenity is within your heart. Now, isn't that beautiful? Now, that is for everyone. It's not just for me. It's for everyone. Everyone who sees this, whether you see it live or in the recording, this is actually a beautiful card. Serenity now. I always think of the castle when I think of Serenity, and that was my son's favourite movie. I don't know if you've seen the Australian movie, The Castle. Hilarious. But anyway, this is what Serenity now is, or Serenity is what I'm all about today. Now, the other card, okay, is Spiritual Priestess. Now, isn't that beautiful? Number 7, a Spiritual Priestess. This is beautiful. Now, number 7 is also can be a cycle, every 7 years we seem to move on to a life cycle, whereas number 9 is more of a soul cycle as well. So let's have a look at this one. A light in the shadows and darkness. Spiritual Priestess. The Spiritual Priestess has entered your life today, taking measure of all she surveys. She brings comfort into a world of shadows and darkness. She heals the wounds of the heart and softens the negative thoughts of the mind. She appeals to your sense of light, which opens the heart, the pathway to regaining strength and joy. Oh my God, this is amazing for you ladies, especially the ones who have actually commented on the fact that you're going through some sort of loss at the moment. So understand this. You will travel with her through the night, laying to rest your pain and suffering. In the break of day, you will awaken feeling refreshed and healed. Her strength and powers is lent to you for the time you need. She will grant you the opportunity to move forward. Pray for your recovery and enlightenment to unfold in the turbulent world that surrounds you. Isn't that beautiful? So there you are. You all have this beautiful spiritual priestess. Let me put it up really close, who is guiding you and looking after you as you are going on your journey. So how amazing is that? My dog's going berserk, but that's okay. I'm not sure if you can hear him, but he will settle down. Anyway, so today I would like to talk to you about pain, okay? Now, this could be physical pain or emotional pain. And I read a real lot of books, and obviously I love my nonfiction books. I read a lot of spiritual books. And I'm actually reading, so I want to talk to you about pain, right? And because there was this process which I have believed in for a very long time, and I reread it in a new book that I'm reading at the moment that I haven't read before, and the same thing came up. And so today I thought that it might be really good for us to deep dive into pain. Now, most people don't want to go into pain. Most people don't even want to think about pain. But this is a different sort of perspective, a different way to look at pain. And if you have been here before, you would have heard me say many, many, many times that your emotions are your friends, okay? So I'm going to take it one step further. Not only are your emotions your friends, but the pain in your body is actually your friend. And it's really important for us to start to realize that we are divinely guided through our whole life, okay? And it's normally our body, whether it's through the way we think, the way we feel, is really, really guiding us, especially if we have physical pain. So it's about us starting to learn how to look beyond the pain. And I will give you a little guidance on how to more easily move beyond the pain. But the thing is for you to actually start to look at it from a different perspective, right? And I know this is different. And I know that it's unusual, but there's heaps and heaps of books around. And I should have really brought my book over, but I'll grab my book because, and this is what this book is largely about. So I don't know if you've ever read this book or seen this book, The Spiritual Language of Your Body by Ina Segal. And this is more or less what this whole book is about, right? It's actually saying that your body is talking to you, okay? And it gives you a guidance on where you're having the pain and all that sort of stuff. But I'm going to go a little bit further than that. I'm going to actually assist you to not only like follow those remedies that are in the book, but also for you to start to tap in naturally to what does this mean in my life. And I'm going to share a little story with you. okay, which came from the book I was reading. And it was this guy, he's out in nature. He's out, he's on a trail. He's on like a not a, quite an Indiana Jones mission, but he's on something similar to that. And he's running up a hill, and then he falls over and he twists his ankle, right? And it just so happens that there was this doctor who is probably more of a healer than she's a medical doctor, but she's more gone into the healing side of it than medicine. And so anyway, she finds him and she works through this little thing. But the first thing that she does with him is that we deep dive into why he was hurt in that particular, and he hurt his ankle. He sprained his ankle. So why was it his ankle that was affected? So this is the thing that the first step in ever finding out what any pain is about is for you to deep dive into why you are feeling sick in that area and what it relates. Now, this book will assist you to deep dive in and find a meaning as to why you are feeling pain in that area. And it will relate to something in your life, but it's more about deep diving into the unresolved issue. And this is what comes back to if you're in loss, okay? So things will keep occurring in our lives, and because we're not dealing with them and working through them, a lot of the times we are just shoving it down and trying to live on, but we haven't learnt the lesson, okay? Now, for every single thing that happens in your life, there is a gift for you. It's like it's a little gift to say, well, maybe you can heal here, or maybe this isn't resolved. So because we shove everything down, we will have these different ailments in our body, or these different emotions, which will guide us to the healing of what requires healing. And in this case that I'm talking about, she assisted him to deep dive into, did you used to hurt your ankle when you were younger? And why did you hurt your ankle? And he went back to when he was a kid, and when he wanted to get out of playing or doing something, he would pretend that he had a sore ankle. So he was out playing with the team, he got tired, and he said, no, I've hurt my ankle, I got home. So he would literally limp home, right? And when she said, okay, so how does that relate to what you're doing now? And he's on this adventure, and he's umming and ahhing whether he should be on this adventure. And he was even actually thinking, well, I might turn around and forget about it. And then, of course, he hurts his ankle. So he's relived what he did as a child, right? Because that's what he was feeling at this time. Umming and ahhing whether he was meant to be on this adventure or not. So that's what can happen to us. So, and I'm not saying, we fake things when we're kids and then this will come back and to us when we're older. But what I'm saying is the crux of everything will maybe come back to a childhood thing that we haven't cured or something like that. So when we start to get pain in our body or we feel this emotion, it is about us deep diving into it and trying to find the deeper meaning. What is this really about? What is it that I require to heal in my life? What is it that needs my forgiveness? Or do I need to apologize for? Or do I just need to acknowledge? And that's the thing that when we start to really deep dive into our pain, right, whether it's physical, emotional, it really does give us so many messages and so many things to deep dive into, which I love. Now, which is great, right? If we start to deep dive in, but we've still got this physical pain. So how can we ease the physical pain? And this is the next thing. So the first thing to do is to lift our vibration. Now, if we've got a sore ankle, I'm going to just run with this example, right? If we've got a sore ankle, it's a bit hard for us to lift our vibration and feel great. You know what I mean? Because, there's so many different ways to lift your vibration. Things like, getting into nature, moving, dancing, even putting your feet on the grass. grounding yourself or putting your feet in the ocean. Like, when we live near an ocean, oh my God, we are so gifted. And it's the best thing. If you're feeling down, just go and stick your feet in the water, and you can literally feel and more or less see the energy just lift. You're having a bad day, I highly recommend drive to the ocean, stick your feet in it or in any sort of water, because it will it's like it washes all over you, and it washes all of your woes away with you, which is a great little thing. So there are different ways, you can meditate. You can just start to breathe into it. And that's what we're going to do. So we're going to stick with the breathing into it. Okay. So say you've got a sore ankle. If you start to breathe into your ankle, so feeling the beauty and the love coming in, and you're really concentrating, feel the pain, like breathe into it and feel it. And that's just concentrate on that pain and nothing else about you. But keep breathing love into it. Keep continually to breathe into it so that you can actually feel it. But what will happen is you'll start to feel tingles, right? This is so amazing, it is. And this is how you know that the energy is shifting. So you'll start to feel tingles into where you've been breathing into. And, it may take a couple of minutes, but if you can keep doing it, keep sending it love, asking, what is this about? How can I heal it? How can I feel better? You'll be amazed at what will happen. And I highly recommend, we are our own, best healers. We can heal ourselves from anything at all. We can heal ourselves, which I just love the thought of it. Especially in the times that we live in now, there's so much fear around, and there's so much, we've got to do this and we've got to do that. And I'm not even going to go into that energy. But what I just like you to say is, we have an immune system within us so that we can heal it. We have these amazing foods, these natural, live, vibrant foods, which are there to assist us to fight off anything. And the more that we deep dive into these foods, and the more we deep dive into how can we heal ourselves mentally, emotionally, physically, and spiritually, the more that we can start to live and love our life. So that's why I'm sort of talking on this today, is for us to start to realize that no matter what ailment we have in our body, where there is a deeper meaning behind it, so much more so than just basically, oh my God, I stabbed my toe or I've broken my ankle or whatever it is. There is so much more to it. And the more that you deep dive into it, and the fact that we have amazing books like this, and there are many others, Louise Hay's You Can Heal Your Life. This I just feel is Louise Hay's You Can Heal Your Life was written in like 1984. And I bought it not long after that, and I loved that book then. But then over the years, I lost that edition, and then I bought another one probably back in 2015. And at that stage, she had done like 93 different editions of it. So each year she was updating it and updating it. And that's what I love about this book. It's sort of taken it a step further. It gives you more of a remedy as opposed to just an affirmation to say. But it does deep dive into your emotional reasons as to why this is happening in your life. Because what we think and the way we say and the way we feel really does affect our lives. So the more that you start to understand and feel that you can be in fear or you can be in love. Now, you can never be in both at the same time. So the more that and the easier that you can get yourself back to love, the easier your life will be. Because who wants to live in fear? That just gives you disease in your body. So that's why I'm helping you today. I just thought it was, when I read it, I was like so guided that this is what I feel is the greatest way that when we are in physical or emotional pain, we can really start to heal ourselves by deep diving into it. I hope this is like resonating with you. Anyway, so let's continue on. So you're breathing deep into the pain, right? And you're asking the questions, what is this about? How can I heal it? What is it that I need to learn? What's my lesson in what's happening in my life at the moment? And you're taking the quiet time. So the more that you breathe into it, you will find the area will start to tingle and the pain will subside. It will go from, say, a 9 out of 10 down to a 3 out of 10, okay? So once that starts to happen, and it will happen, and sure, there's a bit of belief and trust in all of this, but there is in everything in life. There is in everything in life belief and trust. And the more that you learn to actually start to believe in these little different sort of things, the easier life becomes. Not only that, the easier that you'll start to see, oh my God, this is truly happening. Really amazing. So anyway, as you start to do it, then what you do is you start to put the energy into all of your body. So it doesn't matter whether you start at your head or if you start at your feet, but start to breathe that same energy that you've been breathing into where you are hurting into your feet. And just breathe it in, 3 or 4 breaths into your feet, and then 3 or 4 breaths into your ankles, and then into your calves. And then you slowly, slowly, slowly come up into your body so that you do it into every single part of your body. You feel you're putting it into every single cell of your body so that your whole body will start to eventually tingle as you slowly come up and up and up, so that you come, if you start at the bottom and you come to your head, or you start at your head and you go down to your feet. So that the more that you breathe in this amazing energy into every single part of your body, you will start to realize that not only has the pain subsided, but you are starting to feel amazing. And that's when you start to ask the questions, right? Really deep dive in and you will find your answers, right? Now, you are the master you are seeking. I'm not your master. You are your master. I might be able to guide you on you really finding out and believing and knowing that you are the master you are seeking. And the more that we tap into us, the more that we find our answers. Now, everyone has their answers that are true to them. But the biggest problem that most of us have, right, I'm going to say probably about 97% of us have, is that we don't believe us. We believe everyone else, even though they've never walked an inch in our shoes. They've never experienced anything that we've experienced in the same way we've experienced it. They didn't grow up in our family. They didn't go to the schools that we went to. They don't think the way we do. They don't walk the way we do. They probably don't even digest food the way that we do. They probably don't even see colour the way that we see colour. And that's the thing. So why are we getting our answers to our problems from other people? Okay. And it's great to reach out to people and to find out how they may be able to assist you. But at the end of the day, you are your master. Okay. You are the master you are seeking. And it's really important that people understand that we do have our own answers, but we don't know how to access them. And that's where people like me come in, because I actually assist you to be able to access your own answers and to work through, some of the stuff that you may not have been able to work through. But what I do is I help you to have a process that you can use for the rest of your life. So as I said, there's over 40 different loss events that can affect us all. Most of us don't know how to process through one, let alone multiple. And we are all going to have multiple. But when you have a formula of, right, okay, this has happened, right, these are the steps that I take, and then I can process all of this. I can find the gifts. I can find my answers. And then I can say, right, what does this mean for me moving forward? What does this mean for me moving forward? What is in my highest interest moving forward? And I can tell you right now that when you find your answers, it's about you then living your life with a purpose, with a desire to be able to maybe assist others so who are going through a similar thing that you went through. It may be just for you to be able to be the example for your family and your loved ones on this is what you do moving forward. This is how you create a life that you live and love each and every day. This is how you take whatever stuff has happened to you in the past and you learn from it and you grow, and then you create this amazing future for yourself. Because that's what life's about. Life is a journey. And it's not about the destination, it's about what happens along the way and how we can learn and grow from them. But most importantly, how we can be our most beautiful, perfectly imperfect self, and how we can really always know that when we are true to who we are, we will always live the most amazing life. Now, any questions? And thank you for Maria for saying this sounds interesting. When we do that process, believe me, our pain will subside. Look, if you've broken your ankle, more than likely you will have to go and have it set. But just imagine that you have gone from a 9 out of 10 pain down to a 3 out of 10 pain, which is quite manageable. And that what you have done through your own process, through your own little process of recognizing what the pain may be about beyond the actual break or whatever. Why is this happened at you at this moment, at this time? What is this lesson for me? What is this new way of doing things that I will have come out of this? What's the awareness that I require? What requires healing? What requires forgiveness? What requires acknowledging? Because once we come to that stage and we look at life completely differently, Wayne Dyer, the great philosopher who passed, I think, in 2015, he had this amazing saying that when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. And it's so true, because we start to say, what is this really about? Like, what does this mean? And what's a different way of looking at it? What's a different perspective? We all have an opinion, and our opinion is right, but it may be different to someone else's. And it's always great to listen to someone else's so that you can then validate whether your opinion needs to maybe be adjusted or to be left exactly how it is. Because it's through listening to others that we learn and grow, and then we can obviously form our own opinions. But that's what I love about the world that we live in, is that there are so many different ways of looking at every single scenario. We live in an infinite possibilities world. Just look at the horizon. It just goes on and on and on and on and on. Well, that is exactly the same of ways to do things, okay? And it is about you finding your best way to do anything. And that's what I found. I was very much like that when I was in my corporate life. As the CFO, I was always looking for a better way to do something, a quicker way to do something, an easier way to do something. And that's why after, the death of my son and then my job loss, I started to think, okay, the universe is telling me something. What is it telling me? And I'm pretty sure that if I didn't wake up after my redundancy, I probably would have got a health issue or financial issue or something else, happen in my life to wake me up, to get me onto the pathway that I'm on now. Because I didn't really like the way that I was doing loss. And as I looked around, most people were doing loss exactly the same way. just ignore it, just shove it down, just, eat, drink, work harder, just, sit on Netflix or do whatever is your avoidance tactic, and just let life pass you by. I've met so many people who have also lost a child and, many, many years later are still can't even say their name, which in my opinion is not an ideal way to be able to move forward and, live and love your life. So that's why I went looking for a better way, and that's what I came up with, and that's why I do what I do. Yeah. And okay, so yes, Emily, I totally agree with you. Most people do listen to reply, not to understand. But most people don't know how to actively listen. Most people are uncomfortable in the uncomfortable, and sitting there and listening to people, not sure what they're about to say, can sometimes put us into the fight, flight, and freeze sort of mode. And that's why we're like interacting like that. But yeah, to sit and to listen is one of the greatest gifts that you can ever learn, because when you actually do be the last person to talk, and you can then listen to everyone's opinion or everyone's things, you then not only will you grow your awareness, but you'll also understand why they think the way they do. And it's through asking questions. And I love asking questions. I've always loved asking questions. And this little thing came to me that the quality of your life will always come down to the questions that you ask. And, because for every question, there's an answer. And then for every answer, there's an action step. And then for every action step you take, well, you're moving yourself one step closer to where you want to be. But it really does start with the questions, because if you're not asking questions, then you're probably not finding answers, and you're probably not taking action steps, and you're not moving. You may be stagnated and you're wondering why you're feeling unfulfilled and in what I call a Groundhog Day days, where you are just really trying to figure out that surely there must be more to life than what I am living. And I have to tell you, if you're not waking up every day, jumping out of bed, excited about what the day is about to bring, maybe there is something else for you. Maybe there is time for you to just go, do you know what? Today I'm going to put a line in the sand and I'm going to go, right, I'm going to get that life that I not only do I deserve, but I've been desiring for quite a while. So I guess that's it. So is there any questions? I've been talking now for quite a while, like nearly 50 minutes. So I'm going to take a quick sip and let me know, are there any questions about anything that I've just said? And thank you all for the likes and the thumbs up, and not that it's about that, but I just like to obviously know sometimes that what I'm sharing is resonating, and I guess that's what that is more about than anything else. Thank you. So if there's no questions, anyway, I'll keep talking and hopefully some questions will come in. But what I normally like to share at this time is the fact that, I've said it probably a couple of times today, is the fact that there are, so many different loss events, and most of us don't know who we are, and we get lost in ourselves in this process. And we're sort of like, surely there must be more. So what I did, because obviously a lot of people what a lot of people don't actually know when they're in loss. They don't even realize that they've lost themselves. One of the greatest losses out of all of the 40s I have found is the loss of identity. And we don't even realize we've done it. Because we lose a little bit of us here and a little bit of us there, we don't really realize that we've lost a whole lot of ourselves along the way. So what I created was this 45-day Revitalize Your Life, amazing, let me just get it up, this amazing little 45-day series. And for 45 days, you get a You get from me a email and a dedicated area where I load a new little lesson. I guess a little awareness is probably the best way to share it with you. So that for 45 days, you start to reconnect with you, which is why I've called it Revitalize Your Life. And because I know that most people are like, sort of thing, I purposely made it $1 a day. So that's $45 in total. Here's the link. So that what you can do is you can start to actually go, wow, because we don't realize how much we have deconnected to ourselves. So what I've purposely done, and I had so much fun putting this together, believe me, it's literally each day a new little awareness, a new perspective for you to deep dive into, to see little things to do. It takes no more than 45 minutes. Some days it takes a lot less than that. Just depends on what the activity is. But what's more important than anything else is that the older we get and the longer we live, it really is about us realizing that we are the only person that we're going to spend our entire life with. Like, we come in alone and we leave alone. No matter how many loves we have in our lives, we will go on to our next adventure. The day has been set. We may not know what day that is or date that is, but believe me, we all do know that we are on a finite journey in this body as this person. And it is about us making sure that, along the way, we are really, I guess, creating a life where when we leave, we have no regrets. We've done everything we planned to do when we came down here. We have lived and loved our life, and we haven't just, I guess, avoided it. Because that's what we have created in the 21st century, is a life where we can so easily avoid it. We can get stuck into social media. We can live on Netflix. We can live in shopping. We can do so many things. We can, food, alcohol, drugs. There's so many things that can consume us and can fill our days, as opposed if we purposely have intentions towards our days. And that's what this is all about. So the link I've put into the comments, check it out. As I said, it's $45 in total. How many is that? 10 cups of coffee, if that. So it's up to you entirely. Just check it out, see if it resonates with me. I've also put earlier my email address. If you would like to have a conversation with me, 15, 20-minute conversation, reach out, email me, let me know that you saw me here and that you would like to reach out for a conversation. As I said earlier, if that is the case, more than happy to. I do it via Zoom. Please honor, if we set a date and a time, please show up, because believe me, there is nothing worse than me preparing to be there and then you don't show up, as you can imagine. So it's just a respect thing more than anything else. And I totally understand. Just cancel. Don't just not show up. Okay. Any more questions before we part company today? We keep looking for more when we just got to say, I am enough. Why is that so hard though? Yeah, it's because we compare ourselves. I feel, Janelle, is the lot of the fact that, we want more because everyone else has more. We feel that we're not enough because we don't have all these things around us. But we are always more than enough. And the greatest tip I can give you for that is start comparing yourself to yesterday me, which is obviously you. Because I find that when I'm in competition with just yesterday me, that's my goalpost, so that I'm always, I did a video. Oh, that's better than yesterday. You know what I mean? Just little things like that. Or I've learnt a new thing and I've then presented it. Okay. But I look at it. Okay, so what did I do great? What did I do exactly the same? I'll do the same way next time. What's something that I'll do differently next time? What's something I won't do next time? So that you're always comparing yourself to yesterday me. And then you're always enough. Sure, you have a goal to continual improvement, but you're always enough. And you're always perfect exactly where you are now. So you don't go into a lot of that. I hope that helps. Thanks, Melinda. We spend the most time talking to ourselves than anybody, and we are not that kind. Well, it's a choice too, Janelle. You know, like I don't know if you were on earlier, but I spent 14 days in hotel quarantine, and I have to say, I love my own company. But I've worked on loving my own company. I've worked on the way I think, on the things I say to myself. I'm very conscious of what I say to myself. I'm very conscious of the way other people talk as well. Not that I correct them, but I'm very, very aware that the words that we say to ourselves really do have meaning. And the more that we start to listen to the way we talk and start to ask ourselves, would you talk to your best friend that way? How long would they be your best friend if you continue to talk to them that way? Start to have a perspective of you are your own best friend. The first book I wrote was called The Journey to Becoming Your Own Best Friend. And when you start to see yourself that way, not only will you start to talk to yourself in a kinder and beautiful way, you will also have more gratitude for yourself. You will also start to eat differently, exercise differently, walk differently, stand differently, all these different things, because you have become your own best friend. So everything that you do is a choice. So if you are feeling that you are not talking to yourself very kindly, today's the day you can stop. It may take a little while, but the more you start to notice the way you're talking to yourself. You know, I was playing a online game with someone while I was in hotel quarantine, and they did a silly strategic mood. And they said, because we're also, like, even though we're online, we were talking to each other as well. And they said, "Oh, you idiot." And I went, "Why would you call yourself that?" Now, seriously, why would you call yourself an idiot? Okay. You made a silly move, but when you start, it's really important to notice the words that you say to yourself. And they went, "Yeah, you're right." And I said, "You're not an idiot. You're a very smart lady." And they went, "Yeah, you're right." And I said, "So why would you say that?" So start to really notice what you are actually saying to yourself. Okay. Diana, I hope I'm saying your name right. I've enjoyed today's session and look forward to connecting on Zoom. Okay, yep, email me. Thank you, Emily. Dan Grass is Gita, thanks. It's not as green if it might be fake, yeah. Excellent. Thank you, Melinda. Right. Oh, good. Thanks, Rebecca. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Gratitude for yourself, Janelle. Thank you. Interesting phrase. That's cool. Thanks. Never put it that way. Okay. Well, I guess that's it, everybody. Thank you for being here. Thank you for playing. It's always great to have interaction. No point in being, okay, good. Thank you, Diana. Okay. Goodbye. And remember that life is always a choice. And each day, try and make it meaningful, memorable, and magical, because it's in your hands. Bye for now, and I'll see you all again next time. Now that I just end this broadcast, see, there it is. Bye, everyone.